my name's Eddie Sparling, and I'm the treasurer for the Suffolk Multiple Sclerosis Therapy Centre, and we're based in Ipswich. Thank you for inviting myself and some of our committee here today to talk about what kind of benefits you may get from the treatment that we give. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to Peter Sims, our chairman, who's been having this treatment for almost 30 years since we first set up in Ipswich. Thank you very much.
Hello everybody. As you may have just heard, my name is Peter Sims and I'm the chairman. All these things you see here, in October 1982, there was a meeting and we decided Fred Kay became our chairman. We had a different beginning, and Fred Kay became the chairman of our first MS Therapy Centre appeal. We were hoping to try to get a chamber that was formerly used by the forces or the Air Force or Navy or whatever. When we looked at those though, they all had a small porthole in the front, which is okay for an able-bodied person to get in. But we had to have a specially designed chamber for people with disabilities and in wheelchairs, so we had to have a chamber which the door was wide enough to take a wheelchair. We ordered one. We hoped that originally we thought we'd get one for about £5,000, but the specially ordered one cost near £20,000, so we had to raise that before we started. But from October 82 till May 83, we got our first chamber. It was a small, not small. If you come down there and look, it's that's the picture of it coming through the trees, knocking branches off as it came in. We slid into the building. Since then, we have moved, and we are now, about 10 years ago, we moved into a new building that we are in at the moment, which are only prefabricated buildings, but they are beautiful. They're definitely more, very cosy, smaller than this though. Before we had a chance to open our chamber, I had the opportunity to go to a commercial chamber in the back of a lorry down Ipswich Docks to have my treatment. It was cold December 20th we started. And at that stage I was getting very close to wheelchair usage. I could walk holding on to walls, holding on to fences, but that was about it. I could walk 50 yards, perhaps 100 yards. So I had my treatment, and I started on the 20th, and by the 25th, I woke up Christmas morning, my children came into the bedroom, 7:30 jumped onto the bed with their stockings. They hadn't really seen much of me for the past 2 years, because my day consisted of getting up in the morning, I used to go to work then, come home, and go back to bed or laying down again. So for virtually 2 years I was asleep whilst I was at home. On Christmas Day I woke up at 7:30 and I went back to bed 11:30 at night, that is. And I still do that. My day usually starts about 8 o'clock and it goes on till 11, which is a normal day. I also used to have great problems at night time. I had to get to the loo 4 or 5 times every night. Now, I get up once. Sometimes I don't get up at all, which is not bad for an old man. Old men do have to get up. I'll say before I started my treatment, when I was only prepared for a wheelchair, after the treatment, I could walk 13 miles. Use my wife's arm as a support. But this is on a good day. I don't always have good days, I have bad days as well. On the bad days, I fall down. That's easy falling down. I do have great difficulty getting up again. And one time my wife comes in handy, I climb up her, because she's on her hands and knees, and I climb up. So my garden is covered with garden chairs, statues and this sort of thing. so I can climb up again. So I fall down. I usually make benefits while I'm on the floor. I do the reading while I'm down there. My knees are fairly hard. I really needed this chamber because the only change I had in my treatment and my care was the chamber. I had vast improvements. I think so anyway. My family thinks so. So when Fred Kay, who was our original chairman, died after 2 years, I became his chairman, became the chairman. I've been chairman now since, so I've now been chairman for nearly 28 years. Not because I want to be chairman, because I can't find anybody to take over from me. And once I've got somebody in as good as me, I stay. I also used to be the manager, but I've now found somebody else who's taken over that over from me, so I'm only the chairman now, and that's lovely. Somebody else can have the responsibility. When we originally opened, we only had one chamber. And because we were one of the first ones in the country, in fact the first one in the country to open, we had people coming from all over the world. They came from Australia, where else? Sure, came from the Falklands, America, Holland, France, Ireland. They all came to our centre. And the ones that got benefits went home and got chambers in their own locality. Most of them were built by the same people that built our chambers, which is another Ipswich firm, Dive Line. And they had the chambers for us made locally as well. They couldn't make the ends at the bottom and the top. The curved pieces, they had to be made in Holland. But the rest of the work was all done, Coxon's in at Hadley, and brought out to us. The chambers will last forever. They are thick gauge steel. They're strong. So we have to have the various bits and pieces sorted out after every now and again in the service. But obviously those chambers will last for a long, long while. As I said, in May '83, we became in existence. 2013 will be 30 years old. So I don't know if we're having a celebration or not. HPO, which is a treatment with oxygen, it's a treatment. It doesn't work for everybody, but for those, it doesn't cure anything, but for those it does work for, it's fantastic. It's unfortunately, some people don't get themselves at all. Some people it just stops their symptoms from getting any worse. If we can get as far as that, we'll say that's something, because with MS, it is often a gradual decline in health. So I think, if it works for you, it's incredible. It's worked for me, that's lasted for 30 years. I'm still working. Thank you.
Hello. My name's Audrey and I'm one of the operators.
He's one of the bankers.
He likes to make his presence felt. I'm centre, and just to give you just brief details of how we work there. Well, first of all, I'm one of 4 operators who look after the day-to-day running of the centre, first and foremost by delivering the hyperbaric oxygen treatment. We're also there to offer advice. If we don't know the answer, we know a person who can. And we look after 3 chambers. As I said, I am one of a team of 4 fully qualified operators we are all trained by personnel from the Multiple Sclerosis National Therapy Centres Federation, who oversee everything that we do and how we run centres. So we are responsible to the Federation that we do the job the way it should be done. We have access to a medical consultant who is very experienced in dealing with MS and how hyperbaric oxygen can help. As Peter has said, it's not a guaranteed therapy, but I have to say I'm just gone into my 14th year working there, and I could count on one hand the number of people who haven't had the benefits or enough benefits for them to feel that it was for them. On taking up the therapy, best to have an open mind, but a very positive mind. And there are people here who've come to the centre, and I'm sure any of them will be able to chat to you as we can answer any questions that anybody's got. I must add that we are very ably supported in the process of running the centre by, we have some very good volunteers, and without them, you know, life would be difficult, and they give their time freely to us, and we're very grateful for them. As I said, we do have 3 chambers. We are situated on Claydon Business Park, which is just outside of Ipswich, and in 2 very humble porter cabins put together. We're not blessed with your beautiful centre here. This really is a credit to you all. However, the chambers are there and we do our best to help people. I'd just like to tell you a little bit of how the treatment is administered, for want of a better word. The first thing I want to say is that you've probably heard the term diving. We are encouraged not to use that word now because it does give the wrong impression. We are on dry land, so you won't need your wetsuit or your beach towel having had the treatment. What it involves is, if I can just point out, particularly this one, can you all see these?
Yeah.
If not, please feel free to come and have a look afterwards. This one, because the door is open there. And the way the treatment works, our members go into the chamber, and we've got nice comfortable seating in there, and they are all also roomy enough to allow you to be free to get up and take a respite from breathing the oxygen. The chamber is pressurised by purified air, obviously not oxygen, and you would breathe the oxygen through one of these masks, and the oxygen is on demand, so unless you breathe the oxygen you won't get the and that's quite simply, they're very simple masks, and if you'd like to just pass it around, just get a feel of it, just fits closely over the nose and the mouth, yeah, straps over the head. We pressurise the chamber to the required depth, and then for a complete hour round you would put on your mask and breathe the oxygen evenly and deeply. After a complete hour we then depressurise the chamber. All the way through the process we keep in touch. We have CCTV so we can watch if there's any problems inside the chamber. We also have the intercom there that you can speak to us and we can speak to you. Maximum time in the chamber would be an hour and a half, give or take. And then on completion of that, we open the door and you go into the social room, and there's a cuppa waiting for you, tea, coffee, cold drinks, and you have the opportunity to interact with other MSers, if you like. And we find with lots of our members that is as important as the oxygen therapy. Now, when you go in the chamber, it may sound a long time for you to be in there, but you can bring your knitting, you can knit in there, do crosswords, play cards. We even have, on a Wednesday morning, Peter's part of that, we have a Scrabble team, and they play Scrabble on a Wednesday morning, and you have great fun, don't you? I do have to remind them from time to time to put their masks on. You know, and they're making a lot of noise. I say, don't you like the taste of the oxygen this morning? Because the whole point is to get the oxygen into your system, to let it do its work. Now, if I just give you an outline of how the therapy is set up. On embarking on this therapy, we would want you to do, and that this is the way it's been proven to be successful, you would need to do 20 sessions as close together as possible, possibly each morning, Monday to Friday, and it's what we call your saturation treatments, and that is getting your body saturated with extra oxygen. You are assessed through this 20 session period. After each 5 sessions we assess you to monitor any improvements that you may have, and from that assessment we make the decision whether your level of pressurization needs to be changed. I don't want it to sound too technical. As far as you're concerned, it's just you coming and having the treatment, and we will assess you to see any benefits. On embarking on this therapy, you may feel very, very tired, because in itself, sitting in a chamber for up to an hour and a half, but breathing the oxygen can be very, very tiring. So we always say that if you feel tired, when you go home, if you feel tired, allow yourself to rest, allow the oxygen to do its work. On completion of the 20 sessions, done as close together as possible, then all that is needed to continue the therapy, which you would need to do, what we call top-ups, come once a week for a top-up treatment. And that basically, so some people come once a fortnight, they find that once a fortnight is sufficient for them. The important thing is getting the saturations done and getting you on this, you know, feeling better. To go through some of the benefits that we know that people have got from this, it's especially noticeable that bladder problems quickly respond to the oxygen. The urgency can be less, which helps you through the night. You know, you're getting up in the night 3, 4, 5 times a night. That can be reduced, so that in itself allows you to sleep better. It can help with leg drag, muscle pain, even eyesight. We had a gentleman start several weeks ago, and he had a problem with his eyesight, which was to do with his MS originally. And within a week, he couldn't believe how, when he was reading, he could actually read without sort of going like that, or like me, you know, putting your glasses on. As Peter said, it doesn't work for everyone, but I think it's worth a try. What it does, it can help you manage your symptoms of MS. It can't get rid of them completely, but it will help you manage your symptoms and live your life the way you want to live it, more so than feeling I can't do this or I can't do that, because hyperbaric oxygen is very good at giving you the feel-good factor. So I've talked about going into the chamber and where we are. Excuse me, I'm going to read. Just to say that the treatments are very well controlled. As I say, we do have to be fully trained, and we are assessed once a year, and our assessment is in 2 weeks' time. And our volunteers, in the main, are fully trained up. We have to have a second person there for health and safety reasons. Should anything happen to the main operator, we must have someone in the centre who knows how to get the people out of the chamber. I said about it not being 19. Just to say that we have a social area. As I say, we're in 2 porta cabins put together. One porta cabin we call the social area. The other houses the 3 chambers. We have, for the operators, it looks complicated. It's not anything once you know. That controls all 3, between those 2 consoles, we can control all 3 chambers. We do control them separately. Just wondering what else we can tell you. Except to say, I would like to say that we are totally independent of the NHS. We do treat people from the NHS from time to time, for which we're very grateful because they pay us for the treatments for their patients. But we are a self-funding charity and we have to raise our own funds. We don't get any statutory help from the government other than our treasurer has the facility to claim gift aid on the donations that you give us for the treatment. We're open generally Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday mornings, but when anyone's doing their saturations, we open right through Monday to Friday to give the opportunity to get those saturations in as close together as possible. We are fortunate that today we have got some members who come for the treatment. We've got Tricia, we've got June, we've got Anne and Gareth. Who else? And Raw Peter, I mustn't forget him. And I'm sure they'll be glad to chat to anyone. But if anyone's got any questions at all now, I'm sure between us we'd be happy to. Hello.
You mentioned the NHS. I thought you was going to mention how much it's going to be per session.
For people with MS, because we are set up in the first place to deal with people with MS, all of our donations that are given to us are to help people with MS. We do our very best to keep the cost as low as possible, and we ask for a minimum donation for each time you come, £10. That's far less than the actual cost of the therapy.
Thank you.
So, you think that's acceptable, do you?
I've been trying to go through with my doctor years ago to do this, if I could do it. Now, if it goes in paperwork, I can give her the paperwork and show her I'd like to do this. Can she fill it out for me, please?
What we ask is, we do have our paperwork which needs to be gone through, and the most important part of that is we have a printed form for you to take to your doctor.
Great.
Which, in effect, we're asking the doctor to say that he knows of no reason why you shouldn't take hyperbaric oxygen. If he has any concerns, you know, he would let us know. But your GP must know that you have requested hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Oh.
And without that doctor's letter, we cannot proceed. Insurance decrees that we must have that say-so from your GP.
Fine.
Once that's signed, however quickly the doctor signs the letter, sometimes people are waiting 2 weeks. We had a lady last week, she came to have a look and I gave her the paper. She said, can I start tomorrow? I said, well, we don't have a waiting list. However, I think you'll have some difficulty getting your doctor to sign today. She said, oh, he will. I said, really? She said, yeah. She said, he will sign it because he'll want to get rid of me. And sure enough, she did, and she started the next day. And she's doing lovely. I think she's probably done 5 now. She started last Thursday, and
Sure.
we're the weekend for her. So yes, we are very aware that people with MS have their own difficulties without having financial burdens. So the real cost of the treatment is around £30 individually if it was broken down. But we do store collections. Our daughters have abseiled along with other people. We've had marathon runners. Any opportunity where we feel we can raise some funds to keep the centre going. It's an ongoing struggle, but so I hope you appreciate that by keeping it to £10, it makes it accessible for most everyone. And if someone was in absolute dire need, then the board would consider that case and see what we could do to help you towards that.
Cool.
All right?
Thank you. Sorry to...
I don't understand, what would be the difference of, say, buying an oxygen cylinder and just breathing in the oxygen at home compared to this?
It's the pressurisation in the chamber by your body being under pressure. Now, just on that point, we say you go down to, we have 3 different levels. You don't physically go anywhere.
Dry dive.
Sorry?
Dry dive.
All right, then shall we call it a dry dive? Okay. It's the act of that's hyperbaric. The pressure is built up inside the chamber. And speak to the members here, they'll tell you how it feels. Some don't feel any difference at all. Some people can get ear pain, like when you go on an aeroplane, but when you're in an aeroplane you can't tell the pilot to stop, can you? You can, as I say, we have the 2-way speech. If any ear pain or any other discomfort is felt, they tell us and we stop. You know, if we're pressurising, we stop. With ear pain, we lessen the pressure to equalise the pressure in the ears, and anything else can be dealt with. So it's the fact that you are under pressure, because breathing oxygen in the air, it might surprise you, it's considerably lower than what you would think. But by breathing medical grade oxygen in a pressurised chamber, it can increase it up to as much as 80%, which oxygen cannot do any harm, it won't do you any harm, and hopefully it will do you some good. It doesn't choose where it goes, gets into your bloodstream throughout your whole system.
So how does it medically help? I mean, what's the sort of theory behind having this extra saturation of oxygen? What gives, like, energy for the cells to regenerate? Or
well, the oxygen will get into the red corpuscles in your blood, won't it? And they deliver the oxygen. Oxygen is a fantastic healer. I don't know whether you could explain any more in detail about that, Peter.
When you breathe,
I can't tell you clinically exactly how it works.
oxygen under pressure, you breathe far more deeply. Also, I'm saying because the blood is under pressure, oxygen is under pressure, it forces the oxygen to various places it doesn't normally go. And possibly, we don't know, it actually bypasses the plaque, which we all, MS people have in the nervous system somewhere. And if this works, I'm saying it's covering, it's actually forcing somewhere where it hasn't been before for an awful long while. You're only breathing oxygen for an hour. The same effect goes on for some time afterwards. So I'm saying, whatever it's doing, it seems to be going through, working, and then staying, and the benefit stays there for a while. It's not been proven that it works.
I think, Peter, also you've often said that you know when in effect it's left your system and you're ready for a top-up.
Yes, my wife says I get bad-tempered, but I don't. I fall around more often, I still get very tired, and I start getting up from the loo more often at night. So that's why I know I have to come in. I occasionally have holidays, which means doesn't fall by the way. And I usually go in every week for my top-up. And because I miss my weekly fix, if I go away for a fortnight, that means I have 3 weeks from one session to the next. And I do notice myself, even apart from what my wife tells me. I do notice that am deteriorating. But I go in for my one fix, and I'm up again, I'm okay again, I'm topped up again. If I do feel particularly as if things are getting on top of the oxygen is not working very well, I can go in for more than one session a week, just to give me another saturation blast. And it works for me, and it keeps me going. I've been going for 30 years, and I'm a different man to what I used to be.
We can see the practical benefits of people that have had this oxygen treatment. We can see it, isn't it?
Got a wound anywhere?
Oh, well, it's wonderful for wounds, sores or pressure sores area.
Ulcers?
Yes, there are lots of other.
It's all healing. It's once again, I'm saying with a sore or a pressure area, the oxygen's getting through, because in the pressure area, the oxygen can't get to that area. It goes red and it gets sore and it sometimes breaks down. But oxygen under pressure can actually force itself through that area, and it heals. It heals incredibly quickly and well.
Do you feel any different when you're actually breathing the oxygen? Why
The
do
only
you
difference
take the
when-
mask off? Like we was
Oh, you
talking about
can
before?
take a mask off.
You can take a respite from breathing the oxygen at any time.
Because it feels different, or
No, it makes no difference. The only thing you notice different is when you're actually going down, the pressure on your ears. When you fly, if you fly on your flutter in your ears. I'm not going to argue with one thing or what you said.
Oh,
Pain. You don't suffer pain. It's absolutely unnecessary to suffer from pain. We do what Audrey said. Nobody should suffer pain. The only people who have had pain is to a man come in and a woman come in. And if the woman goes through okay, because a man's a man, it's not going to hurt him. It doesn't always work that way, and sometimes he'll get pain and suffer pain because she didn't, so I shouldn't feel. But the pressure affects the eardrum. It's pushing inside. We have a tube that runs from the middle ear to the throat, Eustachian tube, which is normally closed. You sometimes feel when you go up and down hill, you'll feel your ears pop or, well, that's because that tube opens and alters the pressure on the inside the ear. Otherwise, the eardrum would just form in, push in, and it would be very, very painful. But it isn't necessary to have any pain whatsoever. And that's the only thing you know. When you're breathing, you can have the mask on or the mask off. You breathe far more deeply when you're at depth. And also, the oxygen you're getting it tastes of nothing. You take your mask off, and the air tastes of nothing. So there's no difference whatsoever.
There are some pictures here that gives you an idea of the size of the chambers. They don't look that massive, and people who haven't ever seen one are really quite surprised at what can be achieved with these. But as I say, they are roomy, and you are able to take your mask off and, you know, do a few knee bends and what have you, if you're able to.
Audrey, perhaps you can just tell how many people we can get in them.
Oh yes, well, chamber 1 we can get 6 people in comfortably, chamber 2 we can get 6, and chamber 3 we can get 3 in. Because we've got 3 separate chambers, a lot of the therapy centres only have 1 chamber, so that they can only do 1 level at any one time. We do, as I said, there are 3 levels, 16.5, 24 and 33. So if we've got members coming of all different levels, we can accommodate them all at the same time. Consequently, that's why we're only open during the morning. There's not the need for us to be open all day, because we can accommodate them.
And I also say it's financially because we don't have to pay for Fred
Yes.
once instead of paying for the 3 different sessions. We do pay them a massive amount, slightly above the minimum. They're retired, they've got money anyway, so they live on the interest. They live on the interest, exactly, so they don't need that money. They don't get very much from us, honestly. And they're the only ones that actually get any money at all. Everything else is done voluntarily.
Yes, all our board members complimentary.
So you'd never go in on your own?
Sorry?
You've never put a member in on their own in one of these?
Yes, they will go in by themselves. When you have your first treatment, I go in, unless I'm on holiday, but usually wait till I come back from the holiday, and I explain all the things as
During the process?
Through the whole process.
Right.
So with your first treatment, we would never want anybody in by themselves. They get me, sorry. I'm the one that's been doing it for 30 years, so I know about it. And I explain all the procedure as we go through the sounds and what you do, where you do it, and why you do it, how you do it. And the next time, yes, on the Tuesday, I usually do it on a Monday. On the Tuesday, you'll often be by yourself. Unless somebody else wants. On up to Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll be with the whole trial on Tuesday, Wednesday. But Thursday, you might wait for yourself. That's when you have to bring somebody else in.
Yes, but you are fully accompanied throughout the whole process for the very first one.
It isn't scary.
No,
Did you get claustrophobic?
We've had lots of claustrophobic people in. Only one, the treated hundreds. There's only one person who couldn't go through the whole session.
Because I've read about it, but I could never do it because I can't do MRI scans either now.
Oh no, well you're in a small room.
Yeah, just a small room. That's all
The
the
toilet cubicles are much smaller. And you don't have to have somebody.
You're not there for an hour and a half.
Open the door and get it. And you're usually by yourself in the toilet cubicle.
Yes.
I was thinking, but these are like, because it's a small room, there's no problem. And usually after that first session,
You bring your book or your
Yeah.
they play cards.
Can I just say that we have treated one child fairly recently, and he was, how old was he?
An autistic little boy.
Yeah.
He was 7 when he first
7.
came
All
to
right,
us.
so he was autistic, and of course going in there, and we went in with his father, he just couldn't have the door shut. He kept saying it was black, didn't he?
It took us a little while to get him
Yeah,
comfortable
and
in there.
gradually we got the door a bit closer shut and a bit closer, you know what I mean, over a period of days, and eventually we got the door shut, and then he forgot all about it, you know what I mean, and he was in there.
He's 7 years old and he
7 years
sits
old.
in that chamber and
Yeah.
he puts his feet upon the chair, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah,
I always ask him, put your thumb up when I say,
yes.
hello, Ivan, are you
Yeah.
all right?
And he's just like a veteran now, isn't he?
And yes,
And
Tricia will
it's
tell you.
helped him as well. He's a lot better, isn't he?
Yes, his mum said last week that now he's putting full sentences together, whereas before it was just odd words. And
there was no eye contact before, was there?
It's
No,
what?
no eye contact before.
oh no.
Now there was actually.
Now he comes
look
in
at
and
me
has a
before,
cuddle,
talk to
you
me.
know, and in fact when he comes out the chamber he said, get the ladies in, and I say, go and tell them then, and Tricia's one of them who's going to the chamber next, and he goes, are you coming now? He's really, I mean when you think a 7-year-old, he's been coming about over a year now.
To get a
hasn't he?
7-year-old to sit still, doing virtually nothing with a mask on his head.
It's good.
He has a
Yeah.
wood. I would say it's impossible. You can't get a 7-year-old to sit still for that length of time. But with his dad, he worked very, very hard. He breathed storage and all this sort of thing. But he sat still for an hour and a half while he had his treatment. On all the 20 sessions to start off with, wasn't it?
Sorry?
Well, he had his training sessions to start off with, didn't he?
Yes,
On a daily
yes,
basis,
yeah,
when he came in,
Yeah.
was having his treatment. He sat still for all this length of time. It's incredible.
But
Like
his
jelly baby
parents are delighted with the improvement because that extra oxygen, even in the little top, you know, it's helped his brain.
Can I just ask, sorry, a few decades ago I was told I wasn't suitable because
Sorry?
I was told I wasn't suitable because I had optic neuritis in the eyes.
Yes,
A lot of people with MS have, and I was
Yes.
told I wouldn't be suitable for having hyperbaric oxygen.
yes, as I said, this gentleman who started a few weeks ago, and he was suffering with that, and it's cleared it up.
Really?
He couldn't believe it when he went to read. Yes, yes. As we've explained, do keep it in mind, it's not a guaranteed therapy, but the benefits that can be had from it are there. Everybody's different, and I couldn't say to you, yes, it will help your leg drag, yes, it will help your bladder function, or
Make you more intelligent.
right, yeah.
That's
So it's a case of, well, don't you think it's worth a try? Although we can't guarantee it, we sincerely hope that it would help. We sincerely hope so, and that's our aim.
Another thing, sorry to interrupt. Anne had trouble flying, and we put it
Sorry,
down.
we're
Anne had
hearing
trouble
it.
when she went flying, when we last flew. She had a very ill afterwards, and we put it down to the pressurised
I've heard
cabin.
that before with other people in MS.
I wondered whether this would be, you know, she was ill, really ill, for about 3
Really
days,
ill?
and it was only our flight to Ireland, and she was.
Say something here. The cabins are not pressurised.
No.
They're pressurised relative to the outside pressure.
Yeah.
So you're actually depressurising. They're just not pressurising enough.
Ah.
So they are pressurised, but because there's very low pressure outside.
So it might have had the reverse effect.
Yeah, it's like going up, basically, on a cheap flight, you might be going up to something like 10 or 11,000 feet.
Mhm.
Plus they pump the air in from the engine, and you can get fumes in from the engine.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so you're getting less oxygen. Normal.
So you're getting less oxygen anyway, but and
getting less
the
oxygen.
pressure's reversed.
And it's like going up a mountain. I mean, I went up just only about 6,000 feet on a mountain. I was getting mountain sickness due to my condition, but I didn't know why. I now know why. And other people didn't know why I was getting that, but I know why now. So it's quite possible. Flying is, well, certainly with the condition I've got, flying is one of the things that exacerbates it. And I would think the same with MS and other autoimmune diseases, quite possible.
Yeah. Do you think the train would affect it? Do you know that will?
That's the other way around.
Yeah, it's pressurising. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Maybe Gareth.
Can I just make the point that we have said that during the procedure of pressurising or depressurising, we do control that, and we can control it to suit your needs. So
In other words,
that's an
it
important.
normally takes about 10 minutes, but we can do it slower, and we can make it last 20 minutes if there are problems.
As long as that suits you with your ear problems.
Great. Thank you.
Sorry, can I just say something on the centre's behalf? Which I know
Yes, please do.
Well, I'm just going to say, everybody, that my husband and I have both been going there for a few months, but we haven't been lately for
Hopefully we're going to go next week.
and I would recommend it to anybody. Now, I'm totally honest, as I've said to Alex, I don't feel I particularly benefited from it. But I know my husband has. He hasn't got MS, but he has got something else. And he's benefited from it. But one of the real benefits, everything they told you and everything you can see before you, they are lovely people. Everyone you meet there, you will never feel that you're a nuisance, you'll never feel that you're causing a problem. They're fantastic. And their social room, it isn't anything like this, but it's very, very warm and friendly. It really is a fantastic place to go to meet new friends, or enemies if you like. And it's great. And they're
Thank you very much, Anne. That is appreciated. Thank you. Just to say, we do have a website and email address. We're always there at the end of the phone when we're in the centre. So contact can be made with us. We'll do our very, very best to accommodate anyone and to answer any queries that you may have.
Can I just ask something? Do you have it? I live out in Frinton Walton Way. Is there a chamber nearer me? Sorry, if I'm
A chamber nearer you?
Is that
Chelmsford.
There's one.
Yeah.
There is one in Chelmsford.
There used to be one in London, in Colchester.
Whereabouts do you live?
Frinton, Walton, on the coast.
Suffolk's there.
Who's Suffolk anyway?
That one's there.
That one's here.
So
No,
we would be
there-
the
yes,
yes. We used to have a
I
gentleman
used to
come
be
from
a
Lowestoft,
library.
and we have
Yeah.
Hyperbaric and
Suffolk's closer than
Colchester.
Chelmsford.
Yes,
Right, yeah.
it is.
Thank you.
Although
That's an easy
we're a
trip.
bit away from Colchester, we are actually just off the A45. Not the
A14.
That's the old.
Just so that you need the
Well,
option to find your way home.
It's still carriageways
It's
all
only
the way.
about
Yeah, once you get on the
Like I
A12.
say, it's
Okay,
think
thank
it's
you.
still clocking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
We have got some little introductory booklets there. If anyone's interested, we'll be happy to give one. You have a little read and take it from there.
Any further questions?
What sort of
Any more
pressure
questions?
do you press at the table to?
Equivalent to 16 feet of seawater.
16 feet.
So it's not deep.
Not deep.
If
We
people
don't go deep enough for you to get the bed.
the maximum depth goes to 33 feet.
It's all very
Just
safe,
2
all
atmospheres.
been tested.
Yeah.
Very safe.
2 atmospheres.
Not that much.
Can I say, you say it's nothing to do with diving? It is to do a hell of a lot of diving.
We're
Because
discouraged from using that term.
That's
now.
why I said drying.
Okay.
Drying.
We'll adopt that term.
Because
then. Yes.
air and sea that covers them, doesn't it?
That covers everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that covers most of it, doesn't it?
We were told not to use the terminology because people think that's what's
Well,
involved.
if you call it dry, then you're covered.
Yeah, good drying rather than diving.
We said that during Monday to Friday, really, for the first 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, if you take
Saturation.
Monday to
What is the minimum that you would say is needed for that saturation period?
no less than 3 a week.
Right.
You put yourself in a far better position. The more you get closer together, it puts you in a good starting point. But no less than 3 a week, because you're having too big a gaps between the oxygen reaching your system and then it gets used up. We want to keep pumping it in, for want of a better phrase, not literally, to make sure that you do get the potential benefit which your body would allow from the oxygen. But yes, it can be done on 3 a week. Trish, you did yours on 3 a week, didn't you? And would you like to say your first week you found benefits, didn't
Yes,
you?
I did, yeah. I used to get up about 3-4 times in the night, I mean Phil will tell you, to go to the loo, and after the first week I just used to get up, well, sometimes I don't even get up once a night now.
I think I'll have some oxygen.
And I also had heavy legs, but I don't anymore. I can walk a lot better. I'm more mobile than I was. I've only been going, 2 years, 3 years?